Hi, I'm John, the creator of Housepool for the 2022 Chainlink Hackathon. This video will be a short presentation on what Housepool is, and then a live demonstration on interacting with the Housepool contract, and an example of how developers can use Housepool in their own contracts. So what Housepool does. Housepool is a decentralized liquidity pool that allows users to make bets using that liquidity. A winning bet withdraws liquidity from the pool, and a losing bet deposits tokens. These bets are provably fair and are determined by the outcome of a random number generated by Chainlink's VRF. The purpose of Housepool is to give every developer the chance to build betting and gaming decentralized applications without the need to raise or risk their own tokens. So how it works is that liquidity providers add tokens to the house pool. Those tokens can then be used to request wages. These wages must have a 1% house edge, and that 1% house edge is then used to pay liquidity providers a share of that revenue. Firstly, a developer's smart contract would make a request to the house pool. In the request would be the wages parameters, as well as transferring over the amount of tokens required in the wager. The house pool would then make a request to Chainlink's VRF coordinator, and this would all be done in the same transaction as the developer's smart contract making the request to the house pool. Next, in the second transaction, the VRF coordinator would send a response to the house pool. This response would be used to determine the outcome of the requested wager. And lastly, in a third transaction, the developer's smart contract would withdraw tokens from the house pool. Now hopefully you have a better understanding of how Housepool works. Now we're going to go to the live demonstration and show you exactly how a user would interact with the contract. Here we are at the Housepool homepage at housepool.app. If you click the Launch App button, we'll be taken to the Liquidity Providers page. From this page, a liquidity provider can manage their liquidity position in the Housepool. In order to manage your liquidity position, you would click the Connect button and connect your wallet. You would then select which token pool you would like to manage. To add to the liquidity pool, I simply enter the amount of BNB that I want to add. And then I click Add. I then approve the transaction. And there you go. You can see that I've added to my position. And I will now start earning a portion of the house pool's revenue generated by wages. To better understand the liquidity providing process, you can go to our documentation page by clicking the Docs button and going to the Liquidity Providers section. Here you can read over a small introduction, the risks and rewards, and also some more detailed walkthroughs of adding and removing liquidity. Now that you've seen how liquidity providers interact with Housepool, let's look at an example of how a developer might use Housepool in their own project. We're going to go over a simple coin flip game that's outlined in our documentations page. This simple smart contract uses Housepool to pay its players. So here's a simple front end for that coin flip game that we just saw. You would start by connecting your wallet and entering how much you would like to bet. And then click the Place Bet button. Approve the transaction. And right now, Housepool is working with the VRF coordinator to get an outcome for this wager. The user would then click the Flip Coin button, which is actually just getting the result of the VRF response. And again, we approve the transaction. And it looks like we won. Awesome. And in the transaction details, you can see that the player has been paid out double what they bet. So as you can see, a developer has been able to make a coin flipping game that actually pays out its users without having to upfront any tokens themselves, all using Housepool. So we've seen two demonstrations using Housepool. The first, providing liquidity, and the second, an example of how a developer might use Housepool. So what's the current state? Right now, Housepool is only on the Binance Smart Chain testnet, and is certainly not ready for mainnet or production use. So that's where the project's currently at. But what's the future look like? Well, firstly, testing and optimizing. Housepool has undergone neither, so that's the main priority. In the future, we want to get on mainnet, and we want to start building an ecosystem of decentralized applications that use Housepool in a meaningful way. That's the end of the presentation. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you got a better understanding of Housepool and are just as excited for its future as I am. Thanks again. Bye.